3-6 Nation, we are here. Ivan Edwards sitting with Ricardo Coleman. Good to have you.
How you doing?
And for Monica Livingston. Monica is not here today, but we are going to have some fun. This is 3-6 Nation. Ivan inspired. I'm very excited to be with you guys. Things are happening in the world. We're going to get to everything. We're going to get to some of it. I was true story. So I'm in the Uber, as I do, heading here, listening to C-SPAN. And I don't know if you stream C-SPAN the way I do.
I know C-SPAN.
This is what we do in DC. People like, what are you talking about politics all the time? I listen to C-SPAN like it's my job.
Yes.
So I'm listening to C-SPAN, and the Uber driver, who is himself a Pakistani individual, we're having a conversation about domestic politics.
Yeah.
And they're passing a new spending bill, balanced budget amendment, which is, according to one congresswoman, the height of hypocrisy. We'll get into that.
After they blew a $1.9
trillion.
$1.9 trillion hole in the budget.
I can't. And they want to talk to me.
Before they're talking about a balanced budget amendment. Now
We want to make sure we're responsible.
We need to look at entitlements.
Do you know how much
your entitlements? That's the next phase.
And when they say entitlement, you mean Social Security, which is
Medicare.
When you say entitlement, you mean Social Security, which is a thing that I pay into. Mm-hmm. It's not entitled. It's a savings account for my future old self.
And they want to take it away.
They want to take that away.
They want to take it away.
They say Medicare, which is how we take care of old people who are sick.
Kind of important.
Right?
Kind of important.
We listen, Grandma. We know that you're important, but you're a drain on the economy. Yeah. And honestly, we just did 1.9 trillion. People don't understand what a trillion is. I did the math the other day, okay? Yes. If I had $100,000 a day, all right?
How long?
It would take me, if in 10 years, that's $360 million, $3.6 million in a year, right?
That's crazy.
It's $36 million in 10 years. That's $360 million in 100 years.
Yes, can even get close.
I'm a third of a billion. We have 1,900 billion dollars.
And almost all of it went to big corporations on top of it.
I'm done with these people.
All of it went to big corporations on top of it.
All right, we're going to get into that. But so there's a lot of stuff happening in the world. But before we get into everything, I want to talk, we're going to talk to Ricardo Coleman. Ricardo, thank you for being here.
Cool. Thank you for inviting me
You
out.
are head of jobsfirst.org.
Yes.
You are running, you're part of the grassroots coordinating committee, working with the Women's National Democratic Club.
Yes.
You guys had the DNC conference that you got some bills sponsored. We got, not you got, we got.
You run
some resolutions happening.
Yeah, I got some resolutions through, yes.
Right, you are running on all cylinders.
I try.
And then you have a day job.
Yeah.
This isn't even like what you do. This is just what you do for
This is
fun.
my volunteer work. This is my fun.
I
This is
love
my
this
hobby.
guy. I
This is
love
my
this
hobby.
guy. All right, so we're going to talk to you. We're going to get into all of that. I just want to say, the best thing that I have seen in a while and makes me happy, Indiana, a small volunteer fire department in Indiana, recently installed what they call a baby box in their fire department wall. And what it is it's a climate-controlled, air-conditioned, padded box that if a person who has a baby does not want that baby, they can send it and they can put it in like a baby in a basket. And like Moses in the bushels, and you put it in the baby box, and then the fire department has it, and they'll take care of it, and they'll put it up for adoption and all these things. And so they've gotten 2 in their little town in the past 6 weeks.
Wow.
Which, one, that's a lot. That's a high rate of response. But you have these women who have kids who are saying, what do I do? And if only somebody could help me, who don't have the I don't want to say courage, because that's the wrong word, but there's too many pressures to come out and do this publicly. They need an option where someone says, hey, we will help you. And this town in Indiana said, listen, we're not going to prosecute you. You're totally anonymous. We're going to take care of the kid.
Exactly.
Take care of you. And people are responding because they need help. I am so pleased for these small towns who find ways of helping their citizens, right? That's exactly what we want to see.
And if you think about the ratio of what the births are, so how many births happen in that small town? and how many are getting dropped off at the fire stations? How many births happen in that 6-week period in that
couple
small town?
dozen maybe.
You think in a small town like that?
I don't know.
Depending. I mean, so think
I don't know
about
how many.
percentage
I don't know how babies
got
work.
got dropped off in a baby basket.
Well, yeah.
So clearly something's going on. So
But
clearly
something's going on, and
there's a need there.
When we talk about all the things that are happening in these small towns, we have the drug crisis, we have poverty, we have
opioids,
opioids, we have a lot of the industrial work that was once being done that's being downsized in these farming towns. You have the farms that the price of crops and the price of meat and the price of soybeans continues to drop because we're in a trade war, and so that affects people's livelihoods.
Unprovoked, unnecessary, pointless,
whatever.
Trade war.
I'm so pleased to be here today. So there's a lot of things happening. We are going to take 30 seconds, send our love out to some of our sponsors. We've got friends, loved ones. This is 3-6 Nation. I'm Ivan Woner. Edward, the man, tan, ready, rested, like Bobby Jindal himself. We will be right back.
It's about respect. Respect for our teammates, respect for our fans, and respect for our game.
It doesn't matter who you are or where you're from. On this team, we're a family.
Racist, sexist, and homophobic language have no place on our team.
We pledge to make our locker room a safe place for everyone.
No matter your race, religion, or whether you are straight or gay, if you can play, you can play.
It's Sean Parker here, and whenever I want some good food in nice-sized portions, not bird-sized food, but big boy portions, I look no further than the Crystal City Sports Pub. Now, if you just stayed on the original first story of the restaurant, you'd be more than happy with the pool tables and the aforementioned good food, but then they went and added a grand second story with, check this out, 6 37-inch LCDs, 2 8-foot projection screen TVs, and a 10-foot projection screen TV, and as a cherry on the top, a state-of-the-art sound booth. They're open 365 days a year, and they are waiting for you. The Crystal City Sports Pub, 529 23rd Street South in Arlington, Virginia. Call them at 703-521-8215 or visit them on the web at ccsportspub.com.
I love how USAA gives.
Boom, we're back. Ricardo Coleman, what's up, sir?
How you doing? What's going
Excellent.
on?
So, was that 3 weeks ago now?
It's been a few weeks, yes.
The
It was just
Democratic winter meeting.
Yes,
Everyone from around the country came here to Washington, D.C.
exactly.
And they had their conversations over what their platform was going to be, what their strategy for moving forward for the next year was going to be. They talked a lot about pushes in Iowa.
Yes.
They had a great speech from my boy, Tom Perez.
Yes, awesome.
Everybody was very happy. Ralph Ellison.
Yes.
Ralph Ellison.
Keith.
Different guy. If you don't know who Ralph Ellison is, go to your local library and look up a lot of books. Keith Ellison was there. He was a really good guy.
Yes.
I have been frustrated over the past year at a lot of the things that different organizations have been talking about and doing, because it's like you're spinning your wheels, and being able to sit down and engage with them directly and see what the DNC directly is talking about, the direction they want to go, how they're revamping their communications, the feedback that they are getting from people all around the country.
Break and file, yeah.
That is exactly what they need to be doing.
Yes.
And so I was encouraged to hear that. Tell me what you guys did. Tell me what that looked like as a grassroots coordinating committee member, as a person with, now it's grassrootsideas.org. That's the next thing that's coming out.
We're putting together the website. So the whole purpose of what we're trying to do is we're trying to solicit ideas. I mean, of course, on the political side, politicians, they ask us for a time. They ask us, they want us to canvas and phone bank, come to their events. They ask us for money, no problem. They constantly ask us for money. They never ask us for ideas. So I said, why are we not shaping the future of our party? Why are we not the ones? We're the ones knocking on doors, voting. We're the energy and the backbone of this party. Why are we not determining the future? Why aren't they asking us for our ideas? So I said, well, there's another way we can do this. So we started soliciting ideas from grassroots groups. We had our summit. We had the first National Messaging and Policy Task Force Summit, which was, I say, masterfully hosted by you. You did an incredible job.
Oh, I'm blushing.
You got the video. We will make sure if you need the video, I got it available. So I got it all.
Yeah, we'll
You did
throw it up
an
on the
incredible
website.
job. Yes, nice.
It was a great, but we had
Karen Finney there.
Yasmin Taib.
Yeah, Yasmin
she
Taib,
was there
our
speaking.
DNC member, yes.
It was very, very well done conversation about where we need to go as a group, as a party.
About 300 RSVP'd, 100 people, 30 people showed up,
Yeah.
broke into those groups. It was incredible. Hardest part of the whole night was getting people to leave.
You know what? It was there all
Nobody
night. It was a
wanted to go home.
party.
It
I had
was a
sushi
party.
afterwards.
The facility staff was giving me the mean mugging me, so I had to try to get people out of there. But what our thing was, let's come up with some ideas, come up with some positive, aspirational, grassroots ideas. And we worked with Yasmin Taib. She's an incredible DNC member from Virginia, and and you worked on them too.
Yeah.
We submitted 20 resolutions. It had 2 weeks. I said, well, what can we do in 2 weeks? I thought we'd get 4 or 5. I'm like, guys, come on, help me out.
Yeah.
We get a couple. We got 20 resolutions. I mean, spanning everything. Talk about taxes. We talked about, health care. We talked about the Head Start. We talked
bail
about elections.
reform.
Bail. I mean, you name it.
Criminal justice.
Criminal justice reform. All of it.
Voting rights.
Incredible,
Immigration, all
brilliant.
over the place.
A group of grassroots people in 2 weeks came up with these ideas. Worked with Yasmin, and as you know, 6 of them we took them to the DNC. We lobbied for them. 6 of them got passed, got voted on. Didn't change a comma.
So they went from 20,
yes,
and they passed 6 of them.
Passed 6 of our resolutions.
That's better than Congress.
Exactly.
That's a higher rate than the House.
So in 2 weeks we got 6 resolutions passed by the DNC, accepted by the entire party. What they're going to do later on is pluck some of these ideas out.
Yes.
And that'll actually make up the party platform.
So now, when you have these ideas coming from my question was originally going to be what kind of reception is that? Because I know that when you have a cloistered group like the DNC,
Yes.
who works on their own things and they're in charge of their in charge,
of course.
How difficult was that? How much effort in that lobbying process to get outsiders their voice heard? How heavy of a lift was that?
I mean, the first thing was identifying what is a good venue, and it's kind of showing what we can do. That's showing that we can come there, that we have ideas. We're not just here to resist. We're not just here to fight against things. We have our own ideas. We're not just a resistance. And like one of the things we talked about before is, I think we showed the power of the resistance. 2017 was the resistance.
Summer of 17 was
Summer
a great
17,
one.
Very important. But now we need to go to the next phase and kind of take this up to the next level. So we also need to inspire people with our ideas. And with our ideas and our platform. So I talk about inspired resistance. So of course we need to resist when we have to. We have a president that's literally diametrically opposed to everything we believe in. We also have to inspire people with an aspirational, big, bold, progressive message. So that's what we're trying to do. That was just one venue. Was the DNC platform process, is the DNC resolutions process, and now we want to take this to the next level.
So when you have these ideas that the DNC says, you know what, we like this, we can get behind this. We need to now disseminate that into everybody, into the world.
Exactly.
And so, but you also want to continue bringing in more ideas from people all around.
We need your ideas. We need your ideas, everybody out there. If you have an idea, let us know.
And so this is going to be a two-way street. This is going to be a conduit out to the world and a vacuum sucking in as many good things as we can get.
Exactly. We're going to try to get those ideas. So the whole idea is, first we we have the platform. We're setting up this platform through the Grassroots Coordinating Committee and with the National Messaging and Policy Task Force. Okay. What we want to do is put together some of these ideas into resolutions and kind of suss them out a little bit and come up with what we call PAMs, Policy Action Memos, which is basically a memo saying, look, this is kind of your slogan, this is your 20-word message, this is kind of the background, what's already been done, and here are my policy ideas. Something I can give to a politician and say, hey, look, this is coming from your grassroots. This is your base that wants this, and we want you to implement this and want you to include this into your campaign platform. We're going to take all those together, we're going to put them together, and we're going to put it into a grassroots strategy and policy agenda. There are thousands of candidates running around the country on different issues.
Correct.
What don't a lot of those candidates have? First-time candidates, men, women who are just committed Democrats who have never run. What don't they? A lot of them don't. What don't they have?
A messaging staff.
They don't have a platform.
They don't have any platform.
I've been to national candidate trainings, and we didn't say the word platform. Didn't come up. Didn't come up the whole time. Did not like, hey. And I
care. I'm running.
But what are you running on? What are you running for?
America.
What are your ideas? America. So we want to put these grassroots groups together and come up with this policy agenda where you can just take one piece out and incorporate that one idea on education, on voting rights, on criminal justice reform. So give you a whole package of basically policy ideas from your constituents, from the people that are already knocking on doors for you, that are canvassing for you, that are providing the energy for your campaign, and you can run on some of that stuff. And we're more likely to come out and knock on those doors and do that if we know that you're running on some of our ideas.
Because you are listening to us.
Yes, exactly.
And if we put you in office, presumably if you are running on this thing, and it's my thing, and you get there, then you're doing my thing.
Exactly.
It's a very smart move.
So we're trying to do that. Like, I'm more than likely to knock on doors, to give you money, to come to your rallies, to canvas and foam. If I know like you're running on one of my ideas, like something that if I'm passionate about education, passionate about manufacturing or STEM education, if I know that you're running on my idea, think about how much more motivated I'm going to be as a voter and as a volunteer to go out and support you. It just makes all the difference.
If you have an entire list to choose from as well, you don't need to adopt all 1,000 issues, but you can say, these are my 5 things that I care about.
Yes.
Bang, bang, bang. And people can go, oh, like I like this person.
Exactly.
Those are my priorities as well. And you can gauge someone's interest by the things that they talk about. And you can say, is this a good person or a bad person? If I've got a guy who's running on shoelace finance reform, I'm going to be very confused at what that is, and maybe I don't want to support him.
No, not so much.
And so it's easier to be able to weed out people who are supporting things that you agree with.
Exactly.
Because I think a lot of times when we see somebody running for an under ticket, the small scale races, we're like, okay, who is this person? It's just the name with a thing. But if they've got 4 or 5 things that they agree with and I agree with, and we help work on this together, then we are definitely more likely to come out and support them. Here's a question for you. I was reading, good news, bad news. Mr. Paul Ryan is not running for re-election. The bad news is Mr. Paul Ryan's not running for re-election. And so all of the things that he has done, the cat's out of the bag and he skips town.
Exactly.
And so no one will be there to hold him accountable for what has happened. But one of the things that I was listening to Newt Gingrich, former Speaker of the House, he said, Paul's a really nice guy, but he's an ideas guy. He was trying to run an ideas campaign, and that's just not going to work anymore. And that was a terrifying statement, is that Paul Ryan, for better or for worse, was focused on ideas, and that's not going to work in the era of Trump. And the thing that I'm most afraid of for our nation, the thing that I'm most afraid of on the Republican side of things, but also we have to ask on the Democratic side of things is there still room for ideas? Do people still respond? Can we sit? You talked about aspirational.
Yes.
And where does the line come from who we want to be to how we get there? Where does it change from a specific concrete policy to we're saving the world from an evil tyrant? Like how do we navigate that balance?
Now, how much time do you have in your show?
We've got 45 minutes left. You can have 4 of them.
So I can talk about this for a minute. Okay, so the party, the Democratic Party, especially on economic ideas, and I can kind of throw in jobs first and kind of talk about where just some ideas. Okay, so we're stuck in this miasma. We're talking about, especially our economic message. We haven't had a good economic message since it's the economy stupid. Like literally, I can't tell you when we had a really good, compelling economic message. So what happened? Right now, our economic message, that's how you win elections. With ideas. We need to be a party of ideas. I think we got away from that. We became kind of miasmic, kind of stuck in this trap where we're talking about minimum wage. Very important, crucially important. $15 an hour. $15 an hour will get you to $30,000 a year. That's $8,000 a year above poverty.
That's right.
That's not gonna cut it. We're talking about infrastructure.
And that poverty line is not a DC poverty line. That's an Oklahoma poverty line where where the cost of living is $40,000 less.
The
than
Mississippi
it is right
Delta,
now.
the Mississippi Delta type policies line. And we're kind of, so we need to have that debate. Infrastructure. We're always talking about infrastructure. What are we going to build? Well, roads and bridges. Okay. Well, I don't want to do construction. So how's that going to work for me? How's that going to help me out? So we need to become the party of ideas. If we can take this, like I said, that's why we talk about inspired resistance. Take this resistance concept and partner with it with some really big, bold economic ideas. I think we can turn this tidal wave into a tsunami and wipe out as many of the opposition as possible and get some of our ideas through. And that's why I'm looking at jobsfirst.org. And that's why I came up with it, because I was a volunteer. I'm knocking on doors, and people ask me, what's your economic message? I'm like, man, I don't know. I don't know. I can't even tell you.
We care about jobs.
I didn't know.
When people talk about, you make a good point about infrastructure. When we talk about these infrastructure and the electric grid is failing and the water grid is failing.
What are you going to build?
Our builds are failing and our roads are failing. And we also have no employees to build those things. We have a shortage of vocational skilled workers. And so even if we had money to do these things, we have nobody to build them.
Yes.
So we have an entire, a bigger problem
big
than
gap.
just talking about we need to fix stuff.
Yes.
We have to go out and train. We have to go out and create the jobs.
Exactly.
And not just create the opportunity to make money.
But those are the kind of ideas we need to be talking about. How do we put those? If we get this infrastructure money? What are we going to build? How are we going to train the people?
What does that
What are we
process
going to
look like?
focus on? These are the ideas that we should be talking about. And like I said before, that's why I started my group, jobsfirst.org. That's my idea for a message. Jobs first. Create good paying American jobs.
Jobs-first.org.
Jobs-first.org.
I tried jobsfirst.org and I couldn't find it, and then I typed in jobs-first.
Jobs-first.org.
And there it was.
Yes, create good paying American jobs, grow an economy that works for everybody. It's franchisable. You can franchise it out. Jobs First Virginia. Create good paying jobs in Virginia, grow an economy that works for everybody in the Commonwealth.
And your economies are going to look different in every place that you go.
And
a DC economy is not the same as a Western
yes.
Virginia economy.
Yes.
It's not the same as a California economy.
San Antonio,
Southern
yes,
versus
yes.
Northern
Yeah,
versus
yes,
Oklahoma versus you have different focuses and different needs in each one of these places, and the people there feel I think when we talk a lot about one type of job, that everybody else feels left out.
Yes.
And so you go down to Texas, they're like, the farmers are being forgotten.
Yes.
Not when we're talking about the agricultural bill, but then we talk about agriculture and like, agriculture?
No,
what
Ohio,
about all the
Ohio,
urban
yes,
people? And so
exactly.
if you can allow for that kind of flexibility and say,
Yes.
hey, listen, what you need in your area, that's what we are focused on.
Exactly.
That's something that would also help.
And that's part of the thing is you still want to have a common idea, a common concept that everybody knows what we stand for. When you talk about a Democratic politician, they know, man, we're for jobs. We're for jobs first because that's important to us. Every politician's up, every race is local.
Yes.
So they're going to, you've got to run your local issues. But if everybody knows where we stand, like, Republican stands for tax cuts, deregulation. No ifs, ands, but any Republican anywhere in the country, that's what they stand for. You don't know what we stand for.
Yeah.
So we got to start standardizing our message and letting people know where we stand, having a compelling message. And then for each individual politician, it's up for you to take those ideas, to morph them, to transform them, and to make them relevant to the people, to your constituencies, and talk about the jobs that fit in your community, in Youngstown or wherever you are in the country.
That's why I think Connor Lamb up in Pennsylvania,
Yes.
in Pittsburgh, he did so well.
Ran local.
Because he talked to the
Ran
things
local.
that mattered to those people. And
Exactly.
when I went up there and I volunteered for a couple days
Nice.
and was able to speak with the people on the ground on both sides. And I had a lot of Connor Lamb supporters say, well, I know Rick Saccone. I know him. My daughter went to school with his daughter, and he's a good guy. But something happened to him, and this Connor, he's saying a lot of good things. He's a nice person, but he's also talking about the things that matter. He's not just repeating things. He's saying he was talking about local trade. He was
Yes.
talking about the
Yeah,
effects of
yes.
steel and the tariffs. He was
Yes.
talking about the things that mattered
He
to
knew-
Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh. And so he wasn't forced into some kind of bigger idea but he was
Yes.
still able to take the things that we're talking about and use them really effectively,
Of course.
for his constituents and for his local people. And I don't think that is. I was going to say something wrong. I absolutely think that makes him valuable here in Washington.
Of course.
Because if he comes bringing an independent mindset,
Of course, yes.
you can be a part of the party and have a streak of independence.
Yes.
That's healthy. We want to have a highly cohesive group
Yes.
that is willing to debate internally in order to get the best idea and do the
course.
best for the people on every front. And I think one of the problems that we've had, if we look at politics in the past 10 years, is that on both sides, especially on the Republican side, though, is they walk lockstep. And so someone in Texas says something, and then Oklahoma and Michigan and Detroit are all having to follow, and it doesn't work like that. And so all of these local issues are getting steamrolled by a single idea or a single message, and that single message doesn't work when it's coming from the top down. But if it's coming from the bottom up, and these people say, this is what we need in our areas, and then their politicians are adopting those and running on them, and they're winning, and they're bringing that to Washington, and they're having these conversations, they're doing the work of politicking and they're doing the work of governance, and that's exactly what we need. So I'm encouraged.
No, and that's one of the reasons why we want to put together. We call it a grassroots strategy and policy agenda. We want to take ideas from all over the country. Like I said, 2 weeks we got 20 incredible ideas from grassroots and just regular rank and file, just people that had ideas. So if we want to grow that out nationwide. Think about the incredible bank of ideas we could get if we just ask people, what do you think about this? It could be one thing, it could be one issue, one education issue, one infrastructure issue, one manufacturing issue. But people just want to be heard, and
Yes.
they want to be asked. They want to know. They want you to know that you care about what they think, and they just want to be asked and heard. And then put that together into a strategy, an agenda, and then I give it to Connor Lamb. Connor Lamb doesn't have to take maybe 20 ideas in there, 50, 100 ideas. He doesn't have to take everything.
He gets the one he likes.
Whichever one he likes, whichever one makes sense for his district
Correct.
in Pennsylvania, and that's what he needs to run on, and that's what he needs to do. But his supporters will know, wow, that came from us, or that came from somebody. I make for me in California. I want to get this guy some money. He's running on my idea that I provided. And like I said, we're missing that. We go to all these different think tanks, all these different Brookings and Center for American Progress, which are important, but we never tap the grassroots, regular Joe, getting
They're
up,
cannon
going to work
fodder.
every day.
They're not ideas.
Well, no, but they're cannon. But like I said, we give them our money, we give them our time, we knock on their doors. Why can't we give them our ideas? So
That's right.
what we're trying to put. That's the main thing we're trying to push. But positive ideas, big, bold, positive ideas from the grassroots. Because I think we're missing that. We're missing out on this huge investment, this crowdsourcing that we should be doing with these grassroots groups.
All right, we're gonna take a break. We're gonna come right back. I want to get into a touchy subject. I'm gonna cause some fights. If you are watching right now live, 36 Nation, you can go on listenvision.com. That's where we always are every Thursday at 5. But follow us on Instagram. That is 3_6_nation. You can follow us on Twitter at 36Nation. You can follow us on YouTube. You can go to Facebook page if you still have one. All of the things. We're going to take a short break. We're going to come back. I'm going to talk about something that Democrats haven't liked to talk about in a long time. I want to grill Mr. Coleman on judges. So we will be right back. 36 Nation.
I love how USAA gives me the peace of mind and the security just like the Marines did. At one point I did change to a different company with car insurance and I was not happy with the customer service. We have switched back over and we feel like we're back home now.
The process through USAA is so effortless that you feel like you're a part of the family.
I love that I can pass a membership to my children and that they can be protected. We're the Williams family and we're USAA members for life.
Call USAA today to talk about your insurance needs.
If you can play, you can play.
If you can play,
You can play.
If you can play, you can play.
We are all
champions.
We are all
Red Hawks.
Red Hawk
For life.
Our staff, coaches, and student athletes welcome students of all races, religions, genders, sexual orientation, and national origin. We advocate and support the LGBTQ community.
We play.
Together.
We win together.
If you can play,
You can play.
At Montclair State University, if you can play, you can play.
if you can play, you can play.
If you can play, you can play.
We are back. All right, here it is. I'm going to close this delicately, but not so delicately that you don't know what I'm talking about. The Republicans ran on a one-issue platform. A lot of the voters that I spoke to said there's only one issue that matters to me, and that was judges. It might have been when they said abortion, and it was the judges. We want to overturn Roe v. Wade. They talked about judges because of gay marriage. They talked judges with the immigration. They talked judges with all of the transgender bills that were happening, these activist judges. And so all of these, I think there's two problems. One is that the Democratic Party, since 1954, honestly, has been resting on the work of the court. Yes. The civil rights movement, all the way to Loving v. Virginia, which yes. I'm a big fan of, all the way down to the gay marriage ruling, Obergefell, which happened under Obama.
Yes.
I think I'm getting my timeline right. all of these different rulings for civil rights, for protections, for voter protections across the board have been tried to do in the legislature, but have been protected and have been affirmed in the courts.
And upheld.
And upheld in the courts.
Yes.
And so when we have this gerrymandering that's happening, we have the case right now in Wisconsin, we have the one in Texas, the one in Maryland's going on, the one in Pennsylvania got ruled on, it was unconstitutional, one in Virginia, North Carolina is happening. You have all of these voter rights. Are these people taking away your rights? And again, the state and federal Supreme Court is saying, yeah, it looks like it, right? That's a court issue.
Exactly.
When we have the bathroom bans that are being played out and the very direct targeting of transgender individuals, LGBT individuals, we have everything from the military, the Muslim ban.
Yes.
You've got the denial of rights. You had the boy who was captured, and not that I'm a fan of terrorists, I'm definitely a fan of due process. And a kid was captured in Afghanistan who was fighting on behalf of ISIS, an American citizen, and the court and the administration wouldn't give him a lawyer.
Yes.
And the ACLU filed a brief saying, hey, he needs a lawyer because he's an American.
Exactly.
And they said, no, he doesn't get a lawyer because we. And the court said, you have to give him a lawyer. He's a citizen.
Yes.
We have fundamental rights. And so again and again and again, there was this American citizen here in, I think it was New York, who was detained by ICE for 3 years because they had the wrong person.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, my bad. And they released him. He had no recourse. And nobody's held responsible. And so the judges become the key to protecting all of the laws that we are trying to implement. And if we're not running, no matter what politician we have tomorrow or next month, if we don't have federal court judges in place protecting rights, and not partisan judges, but just even neutral, nonpartisan judges.
Competent judges.
People who value the law.
Fair judges, yes.
People who say the law is more important for the next 50 years than anything that affects it today or tomorrow.
Yes.
If we don't have that, we're going to doom our nation.
Yeah.
I think that the Democratic Party should be running on that, but we don't like talking about that. We don't like running on that.
I think for us, the most important thing is voting. I think that's really the core issue that we're talking about the courts, we should talk about voting. Gerrymandering, voter suppression, these laws that keep getting thrown out in Texas, all these other places, North Carolina.
Sure.
I mean, literally, if you go there, I think the other issues will metastasize. They'll show the importance of these particular issues. I mean, and you'll convince people this stuff matters. Like whether or not I can vote, it's such a sacred, I mean, you wrote you wrote a wonderful DNC resolution talking about voting.
I'm mad about voting. Voting's my baby.
I mean, I think that's one thing, and we can kind of expand out from there. But for some reason, voting for us is just it's different issues. Voting for us does not have the same resonance that it does for these conservative voters. You know, they and I think a lot of it is because the social issues for them, like literally the gay marriage. You're talking about abortion. I mean, that's just. I mean, talk about a trigger. Whoa.
Yeah.
I mean, that is, boy, and we just don't, some of us do, but guns, Second Amendment. I mean, I can't think of any issue for us as important to some people as these guns are to some of these people. I mean, I cannot think of an issue that we have that animates people, us, our side, progressive side, like the guns do, like Second Amendment does for the other side.
But
so we gotta
part
keep
of
that in
that,
mind.
well, part of that, and I think this is a very interesting point that you make, is that gun debate is not just we have the right to have guns, but it's a fear that there is a conspiracy.
Irrational fear
That there's some conspiracy. Yes. Obama is going to send troops to Texas to encircle all the people and impose martial law and steal and attack. And so we need to arm ourselves against this violent federal government that's coming to kill us.
Exactly.
And so I think because you have these propaganda and these conspiracy theories being spun and ratcheted up, that the reaction to anything, I'm going to keep my gun so I can kill anybody who comes and tries to take it out of my cold, dead hands.
Exactly.
Like, they are living in a world of fear of the government themselves.
Exactly.
And they don't think of themselves as part of the government of for and by the people.
Yes.
They think of it, they're the government, I am me, and if they come on my property, I'm going to shoot.
Exactly.
Hashtag Bundy's, hashtag white people get to shoot people. I am.
Endpoint weapons and federal
I
agents.
can't even with this. I can't.
Weapons and federal
We have
agents.
men in their backyards being shot.
Cell
I
phones.
didn't realize. I was afraid. You have literally armed soldiers taking over federal land, shooting police officers. Well, they had a point. Honestly, Johnson, they had a point. I can't. People. I'm sorry. I'm calm. I love you guys. You know, one of my favorite things.
We'll talk you down. But you're good. You're gonna talk. You're gonna talk.
I gotta breathe.
We're gonna talk you down.
One of the things that I made sure that I did was I made sure to know every officer in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
I go around, I introduce myself, they know where I live, they know me, I call them all the time.
Wow.
I hear something else. I'm that old man who's like, I hear some kids rattling the throne, but they know who I am.
Yeah.
I'm a known quantity, and part of the reason that I did that is because it's smart to know. You don't want to just show up one day late at night and they're like, I don't know who you are.
Yeah.
But I'm talking to them
With a cell phone. With a cell phone.
With a cell
phone. Yeah. I know.
I'm scared. If you look at me, I'm terrifying.
It's a different world. It is a different world, and we have a different reality.
And
than a lot
it's
of
hard
other
to
people.
communicate what that looks like.
Yes.
It's hard to communicate if you were not part of that. I knew a friend, her brother ended up on a bad acid trip.
Okay.
Yeah. And he was naked, running around the streets, waving a gun.
Oh, wow.
The police talked him down, disarmed him, wrapped him in a blanket. Okay. I was like, thank God.
Wow.
But there is no way I would have, no way that would have been me. None. Running around, there was a kid in New York.
Yes.
Waving a pipe. They're like, we thought he was a terrorist. We shot him from a distance. They took him out.
Yeah.
Like the level of reality that we are facing. One side is living in Mayberry,
yes,
where you know your local police officer and you have a relationship with them. And if something goes wrong, you like Mr. Johnson, Officer Johnson. It's okay. It's my buddy Kyle. He's having he's a little. He's on shrooms. It's fine. Exactly. And they're like, all right, you take care of him.
Party a little bit too hard.
But then I was talking to an officer here in D.C. and they said most of the police force isn't even local.
Oh yeah, no.
They come from everywhere else.
No. Yeah,
come here, spend a year, get their training, and then leave.
Yeah.
And so,
or go federal.
We don't even have local people that we can build those relationships with. We are living in a different experience.
Exactly, totally different.
And so, I don't know why I ranted on that, Mr. Coleman. If people want to add their ideas, if people want to give you some help, where can they go?
Jobsfirst.org. We have go on there, our tab, the National Messaging and Policy Task Force, and coming soon, we're going to do grassrootsideas.org. So we've got that. We're building up that website. It should be hopefully launching live very soon, and that we'll have a section where you can send us your ideas. We'll reach out to you, talk to you, and figure out some way to get that into hopefully the right people's policymakers or candidates' hand, and give them something to think about. So,
sir, thank you very much. It has been a pleasure. See, this is the kind of conversation that makes me love this town, right? We can do this for 45 minutes. We can yell, we can scream, we can fight, we can argue, we can come up with great ideas, and then we can go have a beer later on because of America. All right, we're going to take a break. Big shout out, Ricardo. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate
You're the
it,
best. We will be back. 3-6 Nation. Silence.
Thought about launching a broadcasting career? Think you have what it takes to become a broadcasting professional? Learn the skills that will make people want to tune in. Join Monica Livingston, radio personality and owner of 3-6 Nation, for a career development workshop on what it takes to be a radio DJ, sportscaster, and news anchor. Find out how the former DC diva and owner of 3-6 Nation manages her own live internet radio show. Sign up for a workshop today, where Monica doesn't just share broadcasting tools. She puts you on the air.
Come on, hustle. Get your head in the game. Come on.
Are you setting the right example for your kids?
Are you even trying? The ball's down there. What are you doing? You need to get some confidence.
Come on, hustle up, get up there.
Reviewing last year, Ad revenue has declined 15%.
Come on, get your head on straight.
Before your child's next game, ask yourself, how would you like it if they copied your behavior?
There are many ways which we can improve.
That's for sure. Hey, get some confidence.
Positive Coaching Alliance has valuable tips and tools to help our kids perform their best while keeping sports enjoyable for everyone. Their development zone is a great resource for parents like us. Positive Coaching Alliance, creating better athletes, better people. Learn more at positivecoach.org/Fox Sports.
Oh, thank God. Oh, boy. The cyber terrorism war games are happening today. If you guys don't know what this is, war game is when you have a simulated situation and all of the players come together and they try to figure out what their response is going to be. And we do not have a capable bioterrorism plan in place. You know, looking at what we have, looking at what our ideas are, we're focused that we did some stuff about, you know, conventional war and terrorism, things like that, but like biological agents and like viruses and stuff, we don't know what we're doing. And especially attacks on like our agricultural infrastructure, food supply, things like that, it's super open. So what they decided, they were going to coordinate, get all the players, state, federal, local, over 1,000 people getting together for simulated drills, basically. But this is good stuff. I want to give a big shout out. It is being handled by Department of Homeland Security. So they do it twice a year. It's a biannual drill. This year it's called Cyberstorm 6. I was going to say 4, but my Roman numerals I'm dyslexic. Cyberstorm 6, which is great. But really, we are in an era of increasing desperate times. And we need to be prepared as fully as possible. So it's nice to see our government acting proactively, responsibly, and building those relationships. You know, honestly, one of the biggest things that people can do if you are part of the kind of organization that it takes to respond to big situations, to big crises, is to know who you talk to, right? I can get on the phone right now and I can call someone in Pennsylvania because I've been there. I know them by name. We spent lunch together. I say, hey, Jim, is this thing happening? Be careful. Hey, we were out in California and there's a water shortage, or don't cut these flights out. And you know the director of flights, or you know Jim who's doing these things. If you know all of the individuals and the agencies that you need to coordinate with and you practice with them, the chances of success are going to be a lot better. So kudos to DHS for getting on that. We talked about guns a little bit earlier. The 2 latest stories about weapons, the Parkland, Florida school teacher, chemistry teacher, who said he would be willing to arm himself, just left his Glock 9mm in the bathroom stall at Parkland High School. This is rule number 1. If you're going to bring a gun to school, keep it on you. If you forget it and you leave it in the bathroom, the likelihood that a kid will find it is super high. Because you know where kids go in high schools? Class. Also, this is the second gun person. A man out in Florida, one of these states, another, he was California, a school teacher in California who was also a sworn-in public officer of the peace, brought a gun to class and was doing a safety demonstration and fires it in the classroom. So I just want to thank our leaders for enabling such great people to have guns in places where no gun should ever be. A room full of children, easily impressionable, very terrified, locked in. All right, moving forward, war readiness. We've got, okay, here's a question, and I don't want to bring this up too much. I'm just going to ask, how come we've got naval ships crashing into each other? How is this a thing? And I know it's not supposed to be a thing, but if you have like a $1 trillion battleship, it shouldn't crash into another ship. Like that shouldn't happen, mainly because they are controlled by massive computers, automated satellite GPS, and they have like billions of dollars of the high sensitive technical equipment and stuff on them. That shouldn't happen. But apparently, we've got naval ships crashing. We've got jets crashing. We had a helicopter crash. We've had 27 people die, 27 service members die in flight accidents. I am concerned about, and there's a lot of reasons. General Mattis, if you guys are following him, good guy. The Mad Dog himself, the monk of war. He said that readiness has been suffering under a continued resolution, budget cuts, blah, blah, blah. But we've got a place where Marine Corps gunships, only 30% of them were able to fly at a time because they just didn't have the operational resources to keep a whole fleet ready. We've got crashes happening, we've got planes, and we were about to go to another 1, 2, or 3 wars, depending on if you believe John Bolton, Mike Pompeo, or Donald Trump. People, as much as I'm against war, if you're going to go, at least have the tools, right? Right? All right, not talking about war, we're not doing these things. Sex scandals. The Nobel Prize, which recently awarded, this was what, 4 years ago, 8 years ago, nine, about time flies. Obama won his Nobel Prize for living, which was great. But the Nobel Prize committee just had 3 members resigned. It's not a very big body. I think it's like 16 members. They had 3 members resigned because one of the people who's involved in the literary scene in Sweden has been accused of multiple rapes and abuses and all of these things. And like there's cover-ups and all kinds of scandals. They don't know if the Swedish institution will survive. So we started with Harvey Weinstein. In the words of I was going to say my good friend, that's a lie. In the words of Woody Allen, there was a witch hunt. And next thing you know, people in industries ranging from nonprofits to government leaders to business executives to moguls to now literary critics, the whole world is falling apart. The head of NPR was accused of some sexual harassment stuff and had to resign. Like, the World Wildlife Fund, the WWF, not the one you guys are thinking. The World Wildlife Fund, their CEO was accused of some shenanigans. I don't even like saying the word shenanigans because that lightens the thing, but it wasn't rape, it was something else. It was someplace in the middle between shenanigans and rape. Can I say rape? I've said it 3 times. All of these problems that we have in our world, I feel they're like when you have a boil. Have you guys seen those videos where the guy has a boil on his back and like they go like, oh my God, let me do the thing. And they take a needle and they poke it and they squeeze and like the most chunky vomit stuff comes out, just like pouring out. I feel like that's what's happening right now in our country. Like I want you to visualize the badness that is pouring out. And it's coming, it's gross, right? But it shouldn't have been there. And it was there. It was there for a long time. So my hope is that this is a cleansing process, that we are rooting out the evil. We are like dandelions. I don't know if you guys pull dandelions. Do you know what I'm talking about? Where you have to like pull them by the weed? No, not the blow ones. Like when you have to dig them out in your yard, you have to go down. If you just pull the pluck, they'll grow. Pull the pluck. If you just pull them by the stem, they'll come back. But you got to like dig them out, and like the weeds, the roots go way down. Yeah, but you know those are dandelions. Those are dandelions. The blow ones. See, you just make them. You want to know a true story. Dandelions were not native to North America. They were brought over by settlers because dandelion greens were very nutritious and they were easy to grow. And so they brought them over here as like a crop that they could plant. And now everyone has them in every yard in America. Full of seeds. Like all you do is blow it. And everybody's a party. Dandelions. So what was originally supposed to be, the next bitter lettuce ends up destroy. If Scott's made $1 billion, Scott's Lawn and Garden, they did a good job killing dandelions. Little squirt, squirt. Monsanto is very pleased with our pilgrim forefathers at their dandelion shenanigans. Shenanigans. I keep using that word. I don't think that word means what I think it words. Okay, last thing. I want to close out on my absolute favorite guy, Mark Zuckerberg. Marky Mark, Mr. 14 years ago in my dorm room in Harvard, I didn't even realize that I stole some things from my friends. But then I didn't even know, but we're in America. The story of they needed to wait until this year to make the Facebook movie because that needs a better ending. They need the ending where he's on television testifying in front of all 100 senators crying at Congress. Like that's the ending that is happening currently. The only good thing I can say about Mark Zuckerberg is that he did not kill his company when he testified in Congress. But a lot of things did come out. Number one, Facebook tracks you all the time. All the time. Guess what? If you're not on Facebook, but your browser uses Facebook, it's still tracking your browsing history. Guess what? If your phone is on, it's tracking your phone. Even if you use the browser on your phone. Your messaging app, if you sync your messaging app, they have all of your messages, not just the messages that you send with Messenger. Every phone call and every message that you send, they analyze the words of those things so they can target you specifically. Wow. Everything you do is theirs. They said, now, one of the things that Mark Zuckerberg kept saying was, you have complete control of your information. It's yours. Totally yours. You can share it with whoever you want. And the issue that I have with control, right? Like, I can't control something that is not in my purview, right? If I can control this book because I'm holding it, I can't control those glasses because they're over there. Mark Zuckerberg, right? They're not. I just can't. Like it's physically. Mark Zuckerberg kept saying you can have complete control of everything you share. If you want to share a picture with some friends, I'm just like I don't. It's not about friends that I want to share information with. I believe it was Senator Orrin Hatch said, Mark, do you want to tell us what hotel you stayed at last night? You stayed at the Trump Hotel. He's like, no. He's like, you want to tell us what time you got to bed last night? He's like, no. I said, so you understand about how you want some things in your life private, then. You understand the need for control, then. He's like, well, you can opt out of sharing things. You know what? I think that I'm sharing a picture and you are stalking me, following me around. You know what time I get home, what time I'll go to bed, what time I'll wake up, whose house I went over. Baby, I love you. All these other things that are happening. That is not complete control. But even more than that, with the situation with Cambridge Analytica, they were taking your information and removing it off of Facebook. Like, well, we don't sell people's information. We don't sell. It's all on you can delete it if you want. Here's the thing. They just downloaded other people's information and then they had it. So now they have it outside of the Facebook platform. Where is my complete control, Mark? Where is my control? Is it gone? Do I not have it anymore? Are you a liar? Are you a billionaire liar? Are you a billionaire child looking like a 15-year-old without a girlfriend liar to me, to my face, thinking I'm stupid? Yes, you are. Here's the thing. We had 300,000 people use an app. That app gave access to 87 million Americans. Those 87 million Americans had their information scraped and removed from Facebook. Do they have control over that? The senator asked them, I wrote down what senator it was, doesn't matter. He said, what did you find out about this? He's like, well, we found out in 2014. We found out about it and we asked them to stop. And they said, okay. And we considered the matter closed. He said, did you tell the Federal Trade Commission? He's like, no. He's like, did you tell the FCC? No. Did you tell your users that their information had been illegally accessed and downloaded and all the things? They have complete control. Don't you lie to me, Mark. Don't you lie to my face like that. Not pleased, sir. Not pleased at all. But here's what people don't realize. One man understands the power of Facebook. Actually, two men. One man understands the true, pure, Jesus Christ power that is Facebook. Vladimir Putin. In 2005, there was a protest in Moscow. 100,000 people showed up. That's not a lot of people if you're from Moscow. Moscow has like 31 million people. It's a big place. 100,000 people is not a lot of people. They're protesting something. The problem was that you had a spontaneous, quote unquote, organized protest off of Facebook. And he says, how are these nobodies organizing this thing without my people knowing about it? And it's like, they'll say we have Facebook, right? Facebook. And he's like, he thought it was a weapon being developed by the State Department, which is smart, right? If you want to create disruption in a nation, if you want to find a way to organize protests, if you want to, hey kids, are you upset at this crazy regime and you want to do some things about it? Here's a way that you can make your friends online. It's fine. It's fun. And so they go out and they start studying this weapon, trying to make sure that they are not susceptible to it. And in the next 12 years, they master it. Mark Zuckerberg says that in 2018, that's this year, in 2018, they deleted tens of thousands of Russian bots that were trying to influence the special elections. Tens of thousands. He was bragging about that. The reason he was bragging about that is because he didn't say how they had failed in the 2016 election. They think they had gotten several hundred stopped before the 2016 election. But now that we stopped in the Alabama Senate race and in the Georgia Senate race, we stopped tens of thousands of these. There are tens of thousands of fake profiles going online and destroying our democracy because a man who understands the power that is Facebook can use it and wield it like a sword. And so when we sit down and be like, but it's our information and we just want to share dog pictures, what we're doing is we are giving access of who we are, what we think, how we operate to people who study it, spin it, and use it against us. Friends, we are in a dangerous time. I'm going to be your guide through it. This is Ivan Edward, 3-6 Nation. Monica, I love you. Come back to me. Come back. We love you. All the things. See us next week. This is my things. Music.
We're